This week on Rockstar Superhero. The Oklahoma Kid is a metalcore inspiration of the highest order. I became a recent fan, and it's easy to say that I'll probably stay that way for a long time. The band has a reputation for really giving it to the fans, and the music hits me so hard I don't know if I can claim I have 20/20 vision anymore. Their killer bass player, Robert Elfenbein, is a shining example of what it means to be an in-the-pocket rhythm player, and our conversation was a total blast. The band's new album, Tangerine Tragic, is a verifiable 11-track beast, and it's my pleasure to tell you all about it today. So, jump into your headphones or tap along in your car because this is amazing. This is my interview with the German metalcore powerhouse known as the Oklahoma Kid, and this is Rockstar Superhero. I love your band. It's been the greatest surprise for me.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Nice to hear that we have acquired some fans.
Yes. Well, it's nice to meet another Robert as well. I don't know if you know this, but the name Robert means shining or bright.
Yeah, I knew that. It's like I don't know where the origin of this name from. I think it's like Roman Empire stuff or so. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, nice to meet another Robert as well.
Yeah.
And, I heard another name for Robert is also Dick. Is it
for me?
No. You can name a Robert also Dick. It's like the same thing.
I've never heard of this.
Isn't that an American thing? You're from America, right?
I am, but I've never heard that.
Robert Dick. I'm looking it up right now.
No, it's okay. Let's see. I go by Robbie, Robert, and Bob. Bob would be the one I think that
Bob,
is.
Yeah, Bob. Bob is it?
That was my dad, for example. So I'm a junior, so my dad was a Bob, and that's sort of an old-fashioned way of putting the names. It's not very common anymore.
Ah.
Yeah. It's cool though. We've got a great name, man.
Wise decision from our parents.
That's right. Well, I say it's just downloaded from heaven, man. Like, God's up there going, hey, I think I want to make a really cool guy. I'm going to make his parents name him Rob.
Rob. And he became an atheist. Yeah. Really smart decision.
Exactly.
I'm speaking for me. So
No, I know. Yeah. So I heard this thing that was really interesting. I don't know, a couple of years ago, this guy was talking about God, right? And he was saying, isn't it interesting that if God exists, he gave people free will so they could choose not to believe in him? And I was that's such a fascinating thing. Even that subject alone is enough to probably talk an hour about, but we're not going to kill you with religion speak today. So it's okay.
Yeah, but nice touch.
So tell me about Oklahoma Kid. I'm curious, I'm in America, as you mentioned a second ago. And, I know about the band. I've discovered the band. It's been a recent discovery for me, but I love what you do. And I think you're perfect for the American musical palette. We love music like the Oklahoma Kid. And I'm curious, how large is your American audience? I mean, are we your biggest audience or are European audiences more familiar with you?
I think I have the metrics on my phone. There's a handy app you can use for Spotify. And I think the American crowd, the US American crowd, is the second biggest right after Germany, which is our home country.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But it's really close. And it's surprising that it's flourished so much overseas, especially in the US. And in Europe, not that much. But that's the most part of it, but Germany and then US, and after that, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think stylistically, you're very similar to the approach of what we like here, right? A little more hardcore, a little more intense, and yet super melodic. And I don't know, you feel like the kind of band that if I see live, I'm going to be jumping around and stage diving as often as possible.
We try to be a bit more melodical and to somehow break some patterns and some stereotypes we have in the metal genre, in the metalcore genre, but we also have to stick to our roots and to use what's best. And so you always have to go with some hard parts, like you said, jumping around, and also and then you need the good chorus, the vocal lines everyone recognizes in after they heard it. So that's like a really important part to get in touch with the people.
Yeah, I think the reason I was so drawn to it, and I don't know if you've heard this before, but the band sounds like a modern version of 80s hardcore punk. Have you heard this before?
No. I never heard this comparison.
Yeah. Especially what they call in America, what they call New York punk, or the New York scene, the New York hardcore sound.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would definitely check that out, but there's something about it that reminds me of it. And it's probably because I'm a lot older than you. I'm 56 years old. And so.
Okay, that's 21 years older than me. And I'm also recognized as an old person. I'm the oldest in the band.
Thank you for calling me really old. That's so perfect. But you know what? No. I mean, I'm awesome because I love your music.
No, in terms of stepping on a stage with this music, you can't be 70 years old. It's not working. No one. It's not selling it. So you have to be a bit youthful. So, but yeah. I don't want to insult you. Sorry, man.
No, it's fine. I embrace it. It's funny. The older I get, the more I like being older. If I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it's because I really like doing this to my audiences, right? I like the idea of flipping my audience the bird in my behavior, because I don't want to be the stereotypical 56-year-old guy. I want to be the guy that everybody says he never grew up. But I'm listening to fantastic music all the time, and I think Oklahoma Kid is going to be huge. I really do believe this, and I know I say this about a lot of bands because I only have bands on my show that I genuinely like. But nice. I think the Oklahoma Kid is very, very special, and I think when people hear this, my listeners, they're gonna check you out. They're gonna fall in love with you. That's what's gonna happen. You watch.
I hope so. We really want to reach out to everyone and give them the chance to hear us and to like us and to get things moving. Because as I already mentioned, we're not in our early 20s. We're already in our 30s, mid 30s. So so at some point there has to be huge development.
Yeah, but
we're working on it.
Right, but I look at pictures of you guys. I mean, if you hadn't have said anything, Rob, I would have never known. You look like early 20s. You look very young.
Praise Photoshop.
Is that what it actually is?
I think some kind of filters were used in the editing. Everyone does it. But
my God.
It's not intentional. It's not like, oh damn, we look too old, do something, please do something about it. I think it's just got edited and we think, yeah, cool. And it's not like we want to hide our age. It's not, I would never make myself younger, and just to appeal to a younger audience. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm a drummer, and I will tell you that when
I'm a bassist.
So that's why we're cool, because we get the rhythm thing together.
Exactly.
But, I have always thought, when I look back at my own career in life, I thought, the 30s is where I was sort of at my most physically fit and probably looked the best for an ugly guy, So you're doing just fine, buddy.
Thanks. I think the same though. When in your early 20s, of course you're young, but you're a bit stupid. You haven't thought all the things out, but when you're 30, you have had a bit more wisdom, and you're still pretty young and pretty fit. So, and you can really work with this. This is a good baseline to get things done in life. And from that point on, when you get older, it's only deteriorating. So it's really going from shit to worse.
Yeah, when you're in your 20s, you're definitely stupid. When you're in 30s, you're kind of stupid. When you're in your 40s, you're a little stupid. When you're in 50s, everybody thinks you're smart, but you're really, really, really stupid. So anyways, let's get to the band. How did the band come together? I'm going to ask you some basic questions because my listeners don't know much about you. So tell me how the Oklahoma Kid formed.
Yeah, I think we have to get through the cookie cutter questions. And okay, let's say there's a really old, well, like really long ago we formed, but it was just like a quick idea from our guitar player and our vocalist guy, and it's already like 15 years ago, 2007. Wow. But the project, they did nothing. It was just a name and just a couple of shows and wrote some song, not really big. And the band really started in 2012. That's when we got another guitar player and we looked out for a drummer. And 1 year later, 2013, I was added to the band. And then we really started to take things more seriously and produced our own music.
Yeah. Okay. So the core of five came together really when you were added. Are you the last?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some changes in the last years. A new guitar player, new drummer, but pretty much we have a solid core of 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah. Being in a band is so hard because there's so much at stake. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of emotions. Who's sort of running it? Who's writing songs? And it's very hard. But yeah, whatever I'm hearing now, especially your latest music, the latest material you've released, is really stunning. So it's clear that you guys have done the work.
Yeah, over the years we figured out how to contribute the work and who's the best. Everyone should stick to your guns to play your own strengths. You have to know. So I'm not a really good musician myself. I'm not a good songwriter, but I'm good in logistics and planning things out and doing contracts and looking things up on the internet and figuring out a schedule for things. That's my thing I like. And you need these people in your band. If you have 5 songwriters, you will never have someone who rents a car or who books a hotel. But you have many songs. Okay, fair enough. But you need someone to do all the other stuff. And we got some guys in the bands who are more the productive and creative minds, and some more like me, a bit more not that creative, but figure things out.
Well, you're very creative and you're a very good player. I can hear that in the material. So, I mean, don't hit yourself too hard.
Thanks.
But I do understand, and it makes sense why I'm talking to you as well, because you're the one that kind of handles, the promo for the company, or I should say the band, right?
It's divided. Some things I do. I think I did the most interviews out of all of the band, and some people stay in contact with the label, some with the promotion agency and with a booking agency, and it's pretty much divided. Around 3 people do the most of the organization stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting. When I first heard your material and I saw the name, of course, I thought it was an American band. Right, because I know that's the trick, right? But where did you come up? I mean, you weren't there when they named the band, correct?
Exactly, I wasn't there. No.
Okay. So, have you ever had an issue with Warner Brothers since they own the name The Oklahoma Kid? Is that an issue as far as, I mean, it's an 80-year-old movie, but I'm curious if anybody's ever said, "Hey, you can't call yourself The Oklahoma Kid."
I like it that you did your research and you actually looked up where the name comes from. Yeah, it's from the movie, but it's not directly from the movie because I never saw the movie.
Right.
And I think we don't have any problems until now, but maybe in the future we have to rename ourselves and then we just called Oklahoma, or I don't know, the Massachusetts Kid. I don't know, man. But so far it's really good. Actually, I have to tell the tale because like everyone asked for it, and the movie The Oklahoma Kid was mentioned in another movie in Goodfellas from the 90s, the mob movie. Yeah. And and Fred and Tom, our vocalist, our guitar guy, really liked the scene and like how Joe Pesci, what was the name? How was the movie called? The Oklahoma Kid. I'm the Oklahoma Kid, and they really liked it. And at this time, it was really cool to name bands like that. All the metalcore, all the deathcore bands from that period of time, they had also crazy names. Abandon All Ships, We Came as Romans, whatever, and Bring Me the Horizon, and so we stick to it till today, and it's a bit of an old school name from that era, but we still like it, and it's fine.
Oh yeah. No, it absolutely fits. I think that's the key. I don't see how, like if you guys were called Glaciers,
that's a meta for today's band. That's a meta game for today's band. Polaris, Glaciers, all one words. One words are cool now. Back in the day, it was 3 words, or as many words as possible. But I wrestled a beer once, so like really long names were cool back then.
Right. But see the whole the thing. Yeah. The Oklahoma Kid. The Oklahoma Kid. It's so old fashioned, and it's such a statement. And the kind of music that you guys play, it just matches perfect. So good for you.
Since I never saw the original movie from the name, I hope the movie is not controversial, because you know how the world is today. You have to be careful with what you say, how you think, and you have to treat everyone respectfully and be nice to everyone. And we totally support that. But I never saw the movie, and I know how back in the day things were done in other ways than it's 2022. So I don't know. I hope it's not bad for us. And someone says, but in the movie at 5 minutes and 5, he says this and this word. And is this your opinion, or why you named yourself after this movie? You know how people work these days.
Yeah,
They're crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters when you get down to it. I think what matters is that things match up, and that when an audience hears you or sees you, they believe that fits. And so without driving this thing into the ground, I think the name is perfect. And, you have this new album coming out, Tangerine Tragic.
Yeah, it's already out. It's already released.
Right. Yeah. I know. I'm just trying to be that guy. But tell me a little bit about that. I mean, it's 11 tracks of ferocity. I mean, it's a brutal piece of work, and I really dig what I've heard. So I don't necessarily want to just hit on names constantly, but why Tangerine Tragic? Because that sounds like Smashing Pumpkins to me. You know what I mean? It's a kind of an aloof title.
The origin of the name for the record is former girlfriend from our guitar player. They're still friends. Not like bad, no bad blood. No, not this kind of stuff. She likes to write poems, and she wrote a poem, and it was called Tangerine Tragic. And the name has a nice sound to it, nice ring, and our guitar player asked her, "Can we use that name?" And she said yes. And so we picked this name for the record. And I think it's the name. You don't, like you said, it can be Smashing Pumpkins, it can be a Sade record, it can be a country record, it can be anything. So the name is pretty timeless and doesn't say any. It's not called Brutal Slaughter XXX or so.
Right.
So it's like you can it fits to any genre, and it has a nice sound to it. I think that's the most important part. It really sounds good.
Well, so it's interesting that you hit on that, because I was thinking about that. I was thinking, the name of the band, of course, in America, we would automatically assume you're a country band, right? That's what, if we don't know anything, that's what we would assume. So to me, the humor, the tongue-in-cheek idea would be that every one of your albums has a country title. Right? Like my truck ran over my dog, things like that. Right. But you're actually a hardcore, metalcore, metal. Yeah. You know what I mean? I love that idea.
Yeah, we didn't thought about it so far. Now we already got two records, and they don't sound really country. But
No,
yeah,
definitely not.
maybe for the future.
Yeah. So Fred is your primary songwriter, correct?
Exactly. He's the mastermind in terms of productivity and creativity. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you as a bass player, is it more about adding your own color, or do you play the songs exactly as he's written them? Like, I'm kind of curious about your songwriting process, because as a rhythm player myself, as a drummer, when I was playing a lot of music, I wasn't writing any of the material, but I was definitely a key component of the arrangements.
Yeah.
And, I would certainly bring my own flavor to it. And that was a long time ago. Nowadays, everything tends to come, it seems, programmed. They sort of write everything, on GarageBand or whatever, and then present it to the band and say, here you go. What do you think? What's it like in your band?
It's exactly like you said. It's like Fred, over the time, he does more and more. He records the bass, the guitar, the sounds, the sample sounds, and also programs the drum. If someone has a better idea, he can bring it forward to him, and then we can see if we can make things work. And especially for drums are like, most of the times the cookie cutter beats, nothing special, especially the drum fills and the little tricky stuff. And our drummer will like oversight all the songs and adds his own little magic to it. And I, for my part, I can do that as well, but most of the times I'm pretty satisfied with the bass lines, and the only things I change is for live. And mostly I simplify some things so it's a bit more easy to play, and you can move a bit more and don't have to be what I'm playing right now.
Right. How many notes do I have to stare at?
Yeah, exactly. I have to be honest. I make some things a bit simpler to have more energy live for the people in front of me.
Yes. Well, you understand, and this is why I think the band is going to be so big, because you understand that music is to be listened to, but when it's live, music is to be seen.
Exactly.
And right. And so, yeah, you understand. I don't want to talk about myself too much, but yeah, that was something that was always a focus in my life as well, is how do I simplify this? Because my desire as a musician was to play as many notes as possible. But as a listener, I always hated when bands did that, because I want to be captured by the energy, not the technicalities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally understand you. When I started playing bass, and I think I'm almost playing 20 years bass, and I think for the first 10 years, it was like I have to get better and sweeping on bass and tapping. And as a drummer, you say, oh, I need blast, I need gravity blast, I need this beat and so much BPM. I think there are kind of two ways to look at it. There's some bands which are really gifted and super technically, like let's say Animals as Leaders, as an example. And I understand that when they're on the stage, they're not having the crazy performance and spinning guitars around, but nobody wants that. You see them, you listen to the music, it's so crazy, it's so artistic, it's so good. You're just in awe from this pure skill these guys put out. And then there's some middle of the road bands like us. We have some easy parts, like hardcore parts, and some technical parts, so you have to mix things up. But there are also bands who do simple music, but it's really difficult written, and then you as a listener, you're what is this? It's too much. It's too, I don't know. I can't get a grip on this, and it's a really fine line. And if we put it short, and you freak and really good, and everyone likes it. You're freak and really good. Yeah. Or you entertain the people. That's the other thing.
Right.
And we try to entertain because we are not prodigies of our instruments.
Right. Well, no, I appreciate that. It's funny that you say that, but that's so true. Yeah. With Animals as Leaders, all three of those guys are absolute
insane.
Yeah. I mean, Matt's drumming Good God. I thought I was a great drummer, and then I heard Matt and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. It's really something. And yet, yeah, you're correct. If bands who can't do it but try to do it, it feels inauthentic. It feels fake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So Fred writes the material. You guys sort of put it together. You've obviously found a sweet spot because you're making music that is really, really heavy and hardcore but attractive. It's very melodic and exciting and inviting. I don't listen to lyrics. I'm awful at that. I admit this. Okay. So when I listen to the Oklahoma Kid, I'm listening to the music, the rhythms specifically, right? Which is why I'm paying attention to your bass. So I'm sorry, listeners, but it's true. So does the band write music based around a concept, or is it more about a feeling? Because feeling is so complex, but I think that's what captures an audience. What do you think?
What do you mean by a concept?
Well, okay, so if Fred says, I'm writing this album, are all the songs about the same sort of idea, the same theme, anger, love?
In terms of lyrics, you say? No.
Okay.
Actually, it's done like we got the songs, bare bones, but without, most of the times without any vocals and not even the lyrics. Because you can put vocals on a song, but you without lyrics, you can like sum it, or put some fillers in. The lyrics, I think, are the last part which is done, and they are exclusively done by our vocal guy. And before that, there's like a cutout for how the vocals are done on the song, and then he writes the lyrics and puts it on. But how it's sung, it's already figured out before. It's like it's still the part we have the most difficulty with. I would say it's like really so hard to do good vocals and to come up with creative stuff and to be catchy. Because it's the most important. Many bands say it's the most important part of the lyrics there, but they are really important because most people identify with it. You are a musician. You listen to the instruments, but most of the people they don't have that insight. They're not. They just want to listen to music, and vocals emit the most of feelings and contact the most peoples, and so that's important. And yeah, we have to figure it out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It is funny because I don't mean to be, and I don't know if you're like me, but I don't mean to be a snob about it. But yes, I'm listening to the music and I'm listening to the complexities or the things that capture me, and I'm hoping I hear them again, right? I don't want to hear a riff and then it goes away and I never hear it again. If it's a cool riff, I want it to repeat. But I think the reason the band is starting to take off is because there is a feeling that comes out of the music that is authentic. And so, again, for me, when I heard the material, my brain went, "Oh, they mean this." Does that make sense?
I think this comes from the fact that one person is writing all the parts. And so you don't have to patchwork things together. Like some guy says, but I want this guitar riff at this part. And the other guy says, no, it's not fitting. And then you have a little talk and an argument about it. And we don't have that. Fred is writing all the stuff. And so it comes like really natural. I think that's the feeling, but I know the feeling you're talking about, and sometimes you don't get that feeling, but for us it's really good, and we write this way for almost 10 years now, over 10 years, and we're really used to it, and it's also experience, Jeff. You get your experience, and at some point you know what works and what don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's clear that if Fred is bringing that all in, and you, Rob, are putting in your, again, maybe simplifying your bass like you mentioned, but you're part of that arrangement process and putting your stamp on the music. It makes sense that the band sounds like a truly cohesive thing. It doesn't sound like 5 musicians trying to be 5 musicians, but right, you are a band, a true musical collective.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We're glued together.
Yeah. This is kind of a question just for you, okay? But the kind of music you guys do, this mix and match of angry and aggressive and hardcore and metallic and melodic, it's usually put out by people who they believe something important to say, right? That they have something that's inside of them that they have to get out, and they have to share it with an audience, and they hope that audience falls in love with their words and their message. And a lot of times bands like you are angry. I don't get that at all from Oklahoma Kid. I get happy guys, happy, fun guys. But is the anger part of your message?
Anger, I wouldn't say so. No, we're really, we're happy guys. We're not angry. We like to party. We like to hang out with our fans. We're really extrovert. Like to
band of the people.
With everyone. We're a band of the people, but it's natural. It's not forced. It's not like, oh, we have to go. It's now to the people and talk to them. No, we really getting in contact. And in terms of anger, I think there are. When I think about the lyrics, most of the lyrics are a bit more about relationship with people and trouble with yourself,
right? Which we all identify with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And some lyrics are a bit more about global problems, but but most of the lyrics are about relationships and about yourself, identifying yourself and be a better person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that certainly makes sense because, that's the human condition. We're all struggling in relationships and, how to deal with things that happen in our lives and trying to always figure out how to be happy and to be our best selves, I think being a musician, though, I talk about this every show. I think being a musician we're a little bit crazy. And I don't necessarily mean that. Right. Yeah. I mean, we're childish. We're very immature because we are very, in America, we would call it, we're very fleshly. We are about us. And it's not that we're trying to be selfish. It's just that if we're going to be happy as grown-ups and happy as musicians, we have to speak what's inside of us. Do you know what I mean? And so, the age-old question is, being a musician, about passion, or is it about crazy, being a curse? How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel like you're a musician because this is something you want to do or something you have to do?
It's something I want to do. It's really what I want to do because it's a passion. It's a passion to the metal music. Like everyone, at some point you start as a musician and as a metal musician, you dive in the subculture of people and it's like an outsider subculture a bit. It's like on some lane on the side, and you have to identify with the music. When I started listening to heavier stuff, I slowly grew and listened to more and more heavier stuff, and I started to identify with it. And I found other people who did the same. And Oklahoma Kid wasn't my first band. I played in many bands before.
Really?
And yeah, of course, I'm an old guy, and I'm in Oklahoma Kid since 9 years now, I think.
Wow.
And the first band I played 2005. So it's like, so I wanted to become a musician. I didn't have the thought that I needed to become, because I'm don't want to diss myself, but I'm not like a super gifted musician, but I really wanted to do music. So it was a wish. And I took the steps.
Oh man. Well, I'm so jealous. because because I am the crazy narcissistic idiot who's terrified of life, and for me music was always a curse. It is still. I have to do it. Like, for me, I'm not really playing live anymore, but now I'm doing this, right? I'm spending time with great musicians like yourself, because I believe that, I don't want to say my time has passed, Rob, but I feel like the best thing I can offer the world of music nowadays is to find great bands like yourself and say, check this out. Like, this band is going to the places I always wished I could. And so for me, the blessing is connecting with guys like you who are super cool and lots of fun and easy to talk to. And the curse is that I have to do it, or else I go crazy, because I am always looking to discover a new musical friend.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. But I think we're a bit in the same boat, because we also have bands we look up to, and they play places we want to play, and then we see they're like 10 years younger than us, and they are already ahead of us, if I want to name it like that. So there's always something to aspire to, and but it gives you some energy to get. It motivates you to work harder and get better. But
I want to be the weakest guy in the room, right? Like, I mean, so again, I don't want to keep talking about me. This is about you, actually, just so you know. But like,
no, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Like, for me as a musician, the thing I was seeking was, can I find other musicians that are better than me? Now, I know that sounds really, bad, and it's not supposed to be. I don't think I'm all that. That's not what I mean. I just didn't want to be the best guy in the band. I always wanted to be surrounded by musicians that made me better, right? Brought me up to their level. And so I kind of translate what you just said as, there's always somebody better. I mean, look at Animals as Leaders as being technically, they have to be the best band in the world, technically. I mean, just from
they have to be around somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, I can't.
Other great bands, but in terms of metal and this kind of metal, they're pretty up there. Yeah.
Yeah, like who does that? I mean, you can't say like, oh, well, I think, because like Dream Theater is very progressive.
I really love Dream Theater, by the way.
Right, but it's not the same thing. It's more, traditional progressive metal, even power metal, even, right? Yeah. I don't know where I'm doing with this now, but yeah, I just think, I think there's something fun about being the weakest link in the room. So I love that challenge of having it all that pressure on me. Do you like pressure?
Depends on the kind of pressure, I have to say. There's some nice pressure or forms of excitement, like when you go on stage, or when you have to learn the difficult part and then you do it and then you're really happy with it. And there's some kind of bad pressure, like when you have an exam or you have to go to the dentist. I don't want that pressure. I don't want that.
To go to the dentist.
that pressure. Yeah. But I understand the thing with you want to be the weakest in the band. I think you don't want to be the weakest in a band, but you don't want to be the best in the band. And you already said that because you don't want to go to everyone and teach them how to do it. The people you want to gain something from your peers and not have to be the teacher and the mother or the father for them. It's totally understandable because this really, it's frustrating when you're the best.
Yeah, I mean, so as an example, I play disc golf. I don't know what you do if you do any sports, but
golf?
Disc golf, like frisbee.
Ultimate frisbee, or what?
No, there's actually a sport, so it's just like golf, but you use frisbees instead.
Oh, I think I saw that at a park.
Yeah, and it's a ton of fun. But I take it really seriously now, and it's actually it's an upcoming sport. It's becoming a thing finally. Anyway, long story short is I get asked all the time, do I want to go play disc golf, with various people? And I realize they're asking me to go because they want me to teach them. And it's not that I'm trying to be selfish. I just want to go play with somebody who's going to kick my ass because I want to get better.
Yeah, you want a challenge. It's like, especially in terms in sport, you want when you're a competitive person. Some people don't are a competitive person; they don't care about the results. But as you already said, you seem like a competitive person. And I looked it up, disc golf, and I already saw it with the chains, with the buckets, and on sticks, and we have a local park. And you walk around with a backpack and with all the frisbees in it, and they have different colors, right? I saw that. I saw that.
Yes, different colors, and they're like like in golf you have different clubs, right, to hit at different angles. Yeah, right. And in disc golf, the discs do different things. Some turn to the right, some turn to the left. Some so it's really cool. So come to America, or I'll come to Germany and we'll play. Okay.
I will be very terrible at it. I can say that.
Well, but see, I would take you out because you're a cool guy. Well, okay. So back to music. I'm not a negative person. I'm not, but I always want to ask this question. Because musicians, like I said, tend to be crazy. You're not crazy.
No, I'm not crazy.
The band, like you mentioned, tends to be very happy. But what, do you have a self-destructive habit? And I ask this question because, well, I do. And I'm always kind of curious what people do sort of accidentally. How do they sabotage their lives? What are they afraid of at times? You know what I mean? And because this show is listened to mostly by musicians, I've met a lot of musicians with mental health issues, for example. Yeah. You don't have to divulge anything super personal. You don't even have to answer the question, but I'm curious if you have a habit or you've overcome it so, you can give hope to others.
In our band, I think no one has really mental health issues. So
that's good.
We're really blessed in terms of that, because in our circle of friends, a lot of people have to deal with these kind of problems. And actually, we're playing on a festival in September, I think. Which is benefits, how it's called. It's a funding for mental health issues. So
awesome.
So we help there. But I think if you regret something or a self-destructive things besides alcohol and this kind of stuff, is like having regrets to choose this way of life because you put all your eggs in one basket. It's like being a musician is already a tough choice. And then you choose to do metal music, which is a tougher choice because you don't have so much people listening to metal music.
Right.
If you do music like, if you do hip hop, it's like this. If you do metal, it's like this. So it can't even go that high. And so even if you're starting through and they're really, really popping off, then even then the ceiling isn't that high. So I really hope, I'm a bit afraid of being really old and and you have no family, you reach nothing in life, just nothing.
Yeah.
But you tried your best to be a successful musician, and it depends on what you want in your life. You want a big house and a family and a big car and a bank account full of money. That might work out as a musician, but
probably won't.
Probably won't. Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if we are successful, it doesn't mean we are rich.
That's right. Well, the cheesy thing to say is I may not be financially rich, but I'm rich in spirit, right? Or something like that.
It's cheesy, but it's true.
It's true. It's so important to be happy. And the thing that I've learned is the ultimate thing is gratitude, to be grateful for the experiences, to be grateful for the moment. And like I look at you, I've just met you 45 minutes ago, and I like this guy. I know if I were in your town, I could call you up and say, hey, would you like a cup of coffee? And we could hang out and we could chat,
totally,
and you could, and you could teach me.
I show you around and show you the golf,
the disc golf course.
Disc golf course.
Everything's alright. Everything's alright.